The brothers Wiss. The brothers Wiss, brothers Wiss. The brothers Wiss. The brothers.
You're now listening to Greg. It's the brothers Wisp. Let's take a
falls in my organization. We want to thank all of you for taking your time out of your schedule to come spend it with us. Many of you are customers. Thank you for being our customers. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to earn your business every single day. For those of you that are not customers and you're potentially a customer, thanks for giving us your time as well. Today is about announcing some product launches. I wanted to also say, if you think about Mimosa, they've been around for 6 years. 3 years been bringing products to market. 2017 was really about rounding out our point to multi-point solution portfolio. So we came out with the C5C to really give the ability to do longer reach distances for point to multi-point applications. But also the C5C was also built for point-to-point applications as well. So from a price performance perspective, for many of you, you know that the C5C can do both a client device for point to multi-point, but also for point-to-point solutions as well. The other thing we did though was really focus on a lot of software features. So I always like to talk about it being kind of the heart and soul of the technology. A lot of Ethernet features came into the portfolio as well for those of you that needed VLANs and wanted to do a quicker provisioning and turn up those kind of things. There was a lot of Ethernet capabilities that came out in 2.4. So we really wanted to round out point to multi-point, but also there was a lot of software work that went into the product, including focus on quality. As we know, you guys want to make sure you run your networks. The last thing you have is challenges. I've talked to a couple of you already. Do us a favor and give us your feedback over these next few days about things we can do to make you guys successful. I have always said this, we want to be aligned with the ones that are the winners and successful. If you guys are not winning and you're not successful, then obviously we're aligned with the people that aren't going to make it. So our job is to make you successful. And I hope that you'll see by these product launches we're talking about at this conference, but also to give you a teaser, we've got others coming out. You're going to see much more hardware products being launched in 2018 from Mimosa. I joined just about 9 months ago. I came from Calix, where I was there for 13 years. For those of you who know Calix, they were very big in copper and fiber, so fiber to the prim. They're probably the leaders across the United States as far as deployments for fiber to the prim. I joined this company, though, because I have a passion for broadband and a passion for connecting people to the world. And I believe fixed wireless is a place that's going to continue to accelerate for opportunities to go quickly get out there and serve unserved and underserved areas where subscribers need to be connected. And I want to thank all of you guys for doing exactly that. Many of you started as a one-man shop, wanted to go make sure you could be successful in driving, connecting people to have that same experience and same way of life that all the other places do that are served by multiple communication service providers. So with that, I'm going to be turning it over to two of my colleagues. I'm going to turn it over to Eric Porzworski, who is our Chief Product Officer. For those of you that know Jamie's actually not here. He's just coming back from Mobile World Congress. Eric just recently joined us, and here he is.
Thank you very much, John. So my name is Eric Porzworski. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Mimosa. This is my first WISP event, so I'm actually very excited. Please stop by, talk to me. I'm going to reach out to you guys. I want to learn a lot more about the technology, and like John said, what do you need? That's important. We need to understand what you guys need to make you successful. So today, product launch. Everyone ready? Yeah. Let's try this again. Everyone ready? John, give out more beer. Everyone needs a little more beer. So, I've been in access for pretty much 25 years. I started with dial-up modems. There was a time I could listen to a dial-up modem and tell you what it's going to sync at. Is it going to be 33.6 or 56K? That was my history. Then I moved into DSL, and then fiber to the home. Similar to John, I'm very passionate about access. I love going to places and finding places that people are connecting with equipment that I've helped develop or started working with. So I'm very excited about this. So, there's a pink elephant in the room. Let me address it right now. And the question is, where is Jamie Fink? John kind of ruined my whole presentation by answering with that before, but Jamie is still with Mimosa, of course. Jamie's now moved into a new position. Jamie's now the Chief Technology Officer, still the founder, and spending a lot of his time working with the FCC to make sure that frequencies are open for all of us to use. Jamie still leads the company's vision. Unfortunately, I think now he's in Greece, so it's a tough life. Someone's got to live it, I guess, while the rest of us are here. But that's okay. We're going to have a good time. So, but Jamie's still around, and we'll be probably at Whisperpalooza at the end of the year. So I started on January 2nd, and so it's been very interesting. I want to give you a little bit of what I learned about Mimosa so far in my whole 64 days that I've been here. So I'm pretty much an expert. If you want to talk about antennas, please feel free to go to David. Right? He's definitely the guy you want to go to at this point. But if you want some comedy relief and try to test how much I know about antennas, I will be here to amuse you guys that are probably experts at this. But I am a quick learner. So first thing I learned about Mimosa. Mimosa stands for Mimo, okay? Not the carbonated, refreshing drink that I thought it did. That was a buzzkill the first day at work. So actually there's water and soda in the fridge. And actually there are now, Thursdays we do have a happy hour sometimes with Mimosa. So it's actually, there is a little bit of a silver lining in it. So really when I started to look at Mimosa, one of the things I really wanted to understand is what do you, the customers, really think of Mimosa? And that was very important to me because I've seen a lot of companies in the past, and really companies, the successful ones, are driven by what their customers think of them. What is important? What are the values that, if we were to ask you what you think about us, what would you say? So we went out and did a bunch of research. We tried to find the top reasons people choose Mimosa. First of all, performance. Really, it's the best price performance out there in the market. Hundreds of megabits per second, and full gigabit throughput in either direction, a lot of our backhaul products. So we continued to look, and they said technology was a big part of it. SRS. SRS to me is a really, really cool technology, the GPS sync. I think that we always as internally talk about it, but when from the outside of coming in and starting to learn about it, that really changes the game, especially with spectral efficiency. Also, the ability to do spectral analysis, non-intrusive, our auto everything button that looks for different frequencies and tries to mitigate interference. In the dual link and point-to-point, you can either choose reliability or you can choose throughput, which is a great feature in some of our products. The extended frequency range and the DSF support. Product design. I think you'll see one of the most unique things about our company is how much time is spent by the engineers, by Brian, by Jamie, by David, by everyone to really find out how to build a product that's elegant and compact, lightweight and power efficient. I was just briefly talking, never been up on a tower. We did some installations here a little while ago. I can imagine what it's like doing similar things 300 feet in the air. But that's taken into account. People like Dustin gives us feedback back into what's important when you do installations. So these are important things we like to consider every time we build a product. Ease of use. Our cloud-based NMS, very intuitive. Also the network design tool. These are things that we spend a lot of time in, but will continue to be a bigger part of our company. We will continue to invest in them and try to make it as easy for use as possible, and really add value add to these features. And over the coming 6 months, year and a half, as we're developing our roadmap, we really take into account what we need to do to make this a world-class product with 5 nines reliability. Common interface across all of our products. The look and feel across any one of the products you step into will be the same. So as we evolve and come out with new hardwares, like John was alluding to, very openly, but we will continue to have more and more products as we go. And then simple and easy to use installation. How can we make the installation easier to use? And David will talk a little bit about this with some of our new exciting product launches. Second last is value. Cost per bit. We want to be a very cost-effective solution. It is a tough market out there. We are big players we're going against. For us and you, we want to make sure that we provide you a very cost-effective solution so you can then return very low ROI. As well as another thing is called spectral efficiency per dollar. Bits per hertz per dollar. That's a new term we're going to coin. Bits per hertz per dollar. It's going to be huge. Wait a few months. But we really think it's going to be a very important thing. A lot of the big guys talk about it, but when you talk about how you're going to get quicker ROIs, this is how you're going to get it. And last but not least is our award-winning live technical support. Not just a forum. These are guys that you can call up, you can chat with, you can talk to. They're there to help you regardless if it's our product or even some network issues. We're really here to make sure that your customer experience is really good with our products and the networks you deploy with our products. So that's what we've got to learn about Mimosa. It's been a very interesting 64 days. So I'm very excited to be here. Mimosa's user group continues to grow, and it grows across all of our products. So you see quarter over quarter, we continue to get more and more unlocks, more and more growth, more and more people going out and using our products, which is a very exciting time, especially for someone new to this organization like me. So whether it's suburban micropop, traditional backhaul, or rural tower deployments, we continue to grow, and the growth, as we see for the future, will get more and more and more. And as we get more and more growth, we introduce a lot more new products that will give you different tools in your arsenal to offer high-speed internet over wireless, fixed wireless. Because there is a great opportunity coming right now. Right? Over the next few years, when I started looking at Mimosa, so just a little history, Jamie and I go back 20 some odd years. We worked together, so always thought he was a great guy, and just had an opportunity now to get together to do something fun like this. He started talking to me about how the wireless broadband industry works. We started doing some research and looking into it, and what are the opportunities that's happening. I talked to some of the wireline guys even, and they're like, you know what, a few years ago, wireless didn't know, but there's a big swell starting with it. We really start seeing it bigger and bigger and bigger, and more of an opportunity. Not just in rural, but now in suburban, and even now in the urban areas also. So it's going to be an exciting few years, and the growth is going to be continued. And this is service revenue. So these are opportunities you guys have to get more and more revenue all across the different geographic areas. So I'm very excited to be here. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm very excited to be part of Mimosa. Please come by, booth 504. Love to meet you all, introduce myself, listen to you. One of the things I always believe is product development happens in the field. Just getting my feet wet, but I will be going out and visiting more and more of you. Trade shows like this are great opportunities. So now, for the reason you guys are here, not just to meet me, but also supposedly there's a product launch, I would like to introduce David Stiff, our Vice President of Product Management.
All right. Thank you very much. So I'm very excited to be here today, and I hope everybody else is too, because you're probably wanting to know what's underneath this. So without further ado, why don't I open this up and show you guys what's under here. Make sure it doesn't fall over this time. All right. So these beauties will be here while we speak. They'll also be down in the booth. But let's go ahead and just jump right into this, because I think everybody is wondering what in the world are these. Probably know what those are, but this is something new. So I'd like to introduce a new element into Mimosa's numbering name scheme. It's the letter N. N stands for antenna. And it does. Antenna, right? And specifically, this is a new antenna called the N5360. You will be seeing more antennas coming from Mimosa, and specifically what we're doing is we are custom building antennas for very specific needs in the market. There's a lot of great antennas that exist out there today, but as you'll see from this, it's got a very, very focused purpose, and it's a pretty awesome antenna. See, antenna. So this is the N5360. It's the industry's first 360-degree beam-forming antenna. So it's designed to have full 360-degree coverage at the same time doing beam-forming, and it's designed for point-to-multipoint applications. Now, does anybody know what you're not supposed to call this? Omni. Very good. This is not an Omni. Actually, why don't you tell me if you think it's a Quality when I'm done?
Okay, so David said that everyone would know this. I'm like, no one's going to say that.
Okay,
here we go.
What would happen if you called it an Omni? That's right. See?
Wow. I am new, and I apologize again, David.
All right, so let's start getting into this, because I think this is why we're all here. So what the N5360 is a 15 dBi antenna specifically designed for the A5C and helping everybody deploy micropops. What it does is it doubles the coverage that you get over the existing A514, and it enables faster client speed. So it's really designed to fill out the coverage area and extend what you can get from a 360-degree coverage. It's designed with 4 ports on it. You'll see there are 4 ports down there, so it fits very nicely with the A5C. And then the ports are designed with the antenna elements. Each port has a 180-degree, basically, mini sector inside of it that are next to each other, and then the other polarization is overlapping. I've got some slides on this, but essentially what it does is, no matter where you are around the antenna, it provides equal coverage. It's got a very wide frequency range. It supports 4.9 all the way up to 6.4 gigahertz. So we've designed it to be very, very accommodating for the spectrum. And then the big key that it does is no matter where you are around the N5360, you get a 3 dB of beamforming gain. So here's a look inside of it. This is a patent pending design we have. It's on file right now. Essentially what you're looking at looks like this. By the way, do not carry this into the airport. It looks like a sword. You have a seat. So if you take a look, basically it's got a vertical polarization pattern with these dipole antennas here. Inside here we have a slot array. And these basically combine together to get a very smooth balanced coverage. It connects up with 4 end connectors. It's got an integrated pole mount, so from a pole mounting standpoint, it's very similar to the A514, so it should be very familiar. And I'll have this in the booth if you guys want to come look at it. But this is a very good feat of engineering that our engineers have pulled off to be able to make something so compact that is so powerful. Now let's take a look at the N5360 on the inside. So here we are looking at the bottom view. We'll fade that away. And remember I showed you the dipole antennas. The vertical antennas are the dipoles. And then as they radiate, they're basically generating 180 degree of coverage on either side. So it's almost like each vertical polarization has 180 degrees. And then when you add the horizontal, it adds 180 degrees on the other side of it, right? So what that means is no matter where you are around the access point, when you look through the antenna patterns, you're going to see very similar vertical and very similar horizontal RSSI and signal strength. That means you'll have very balanced NCS rates on the client rate. And then that also allows us to do beamforming. So as you're seeing the antenna patterns, if we take a look at the horizontal patterns, for example, we can actually beamform with those. So if you're a client, you're actually going to hear the horizontal polarization from one of the panels facing you, but you're also going to be able to hear the horizontal pattern that's facing the other way. And then with that, our chip and our radio actually can beamform to you. And that allows us to give beamforming plus power gain boost. So that's how we get 15 dBi coverage all the way uniformly around the outside. If you take a look at the data sheet, you'll see that the coverage is very, very uniform. Taking a look at the specs up here, we've got a lot more on the data sheet, but some of the ones I think you'll be quite interested in. Obviously, I said it's 15 dBi of beamforming gain. It's a dual horizontal vertical polarization. It provides a 360-degree coverage using quad overlapping 180 panels. You can decide if you think it's a quantity or not. Kind of is. Kind of different. 180 degrees per panel. The vertical beam width is 8 degrees. Electrical down tilt is 2 degrees. So frequency range, very wide, 4.9 to 6.4. You can see the height and the weight. The price is designed, it's going to be $299 MSRP for the US list, and availability is going to be end of March. You should be able to start purchasing it, hitting the shelves in the April timeframe. So definitely get your orders in. Distributors are opening up now if you're interested. And you can see here a picture of the vertical pattern. You know, one thing, how many people here remember the A518? 18. The A518. Nope. A lot of other people do. So you'll see some of the elements on this are very similar. So this is really kind of fits into place where the A515, when it left this world, this basically has a home to kind of fill in that spot where people are looking for something that's a little bit longer distance than the A514 was. And that brings me to the next slide. If you really look at, so how do you position an A514 that we have, which is our small access point, versus the A5C plus the N5360, there's really a clear differentiation. You know, the N5360 gives you about double the coverage area. If you take a look at the size of the circle, it's about double. It gives you about 60% more distance away from the radio. And it's really designed for coverage between 500 meters to 1,000 meters, so up to 1 kilometer. And it's designed to do this as long as you can handle the the vertical space of it, right? Because you've got an antenna, you've got cables, and you have an access point. Personally, I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world. But I'm sure there are some installations where that might be a little bit too much, and that's actually why we have the A514. The A514 is a very, very discrete deployment, right? If everyone's seen it, it's very small. It fits into a lot of scenarios where you often couldn't have a traditional sectorized or cable-attached antenna. The other big thing we've done with the pricing is the A5C plus the N5 360 is only about $50 more than the A5. So it's not a huge price delta, and that way we want to give you guys the option of which product makes the most sense. Do you need something that's small and discrete to fit in, or do you have the ability to mount something maybe up on a pole and get bigger reach? And really what this is doing now is it's allowing us to more effectively compete in the suburban area with a better signal strength, more even coverage. So definitely, if you guys are interested, take a look at this. I think you're going to like it. So why don't we sit back and enjoy a video that we have after we take a look at what's inside the box. There's a good segue. Actually, I added this slide because I've had a couple people ask me early on, like, the big question was, are you going to be shipping antennas or cables with this? And the answer is yes. So we'll be shipping 4 LMR 240 cables, and we've designed a very interesting weather boot on this that allows you to actually sit down to weather tighten it without having to put in the mastic tape. The end ports are so close together on this that even with the smallest of fingers, you wouldn't be able to wrap the mastic tape around there. So I think we have a very, very clever weatherproofing design that everybody will work. It's also really easy to do. I mean, I think here the hardest thing to put on with the cable, the pole straps versus putting on the antenna cable. So Eric can attest to that. Being new to this, he's like, why in the world do people use these horrible clamps?
I don't want to call it hazing, but I think David hazed me a little bit earlier trying to get that done, but thank you.
Yeah, so in the box we've got 4 antenna cables, we have the N5 360, and we have a couple low-link close clamps. We still can't get away from this. All right, now, after this slide, we'll watch the video. So we've got this deployed at a beta site called Sail Internet. They actually have a location out in Fremont where they're deploying in an area where there are other incumbent service providers that are very, very large service providers. So they're able to provide a service that is extremely high speed and at very competitive rates.
In most areas, consumers don't have a choice for their broadband service provider. The lack of competition isn't good because the incumbent service provider isn't compelled to price fairly or offer the best service. It's no wonder that in a recent consumer survey, 2 of the 12 most hated companies in America were cable operators. At Mimosa, our mission is to help bring the internet to places that are underserved and to bring competition to markets where consumers don't have choice. In the spirit of enabling competition, Mimosa has been the leading proponent of the micro-pop concept. Using a product like the A514, a WISP can deploy service from deep within a suburban area, avoiding the cost and distance limitations with tower-based solutions. With 20 to 30 subscribers sharing the 500 megabit per second capable access point, operators can offer a service that is competitive with cable and have a per-subscriber payback within 6 to 9 months of offering service. Improving the link budget in congested suburban markets is becoming more important all the time as we share the 5 GHz band with other in-house devices. To this end, Mimosa is proud to announce the availability of the N5 360. Our 4-port omnidirectional antenna can be used in conjunction with the A5C connectorized access point. The N5 360 is a breakthrough in antenna technology, offering even omnidirectional gain over both horizontal and vertical polarizations. Beamforming between match point polarizations creates the equivalent of 15 dBi of gain. Our patent-pending design combines 2 slot arrays and 2 dipole arrays in a compact form factor to fit into any residential setting. Paired with the C5 and C5C client radios, the new A5C with N5 360 access point can provide over 200 megabits per second of throughput to clients over a radius of up to 1 kilometer. This makes the micro-pop concept even more compelling because it means fewer micro-pops can cover a much larger area.
The N5 360 has a very well-designed antenna pattern and great performance. With an attractive industrial design, the N5 360 looks great on a rooftop and gives our micro-pop installations the boost we need to compete with the incumbent service providers in suburban neighborhoods.
Available for volume shipments in early 2018, the N5360 comes complete with 4 high-quality LMR 240 cables, weatherized boots, and mounting straps. Once again, Mimosa is listening to what service providers need and delivering breakthrough technology that will allow competitive broadband in lucrative suburban and urban markets around the world.
All right, so that is the N5360. That's product number 1 we wanted to introduce today. Definitely, we'll have this down at the booth. You guys feel free to come by and take a look. We'll be there. We can talk all day long about antennas. You'll probably want to ask me instead of Aaron, but that's all right.
It depends if they want to laugh or not. If they want an answer or they want to make fun of me. It's easy.
All right. But now, the product I think everybody's been waiting for. We're announcing the B24, which is our brand new point-to-point reliable unlicensed gigabit product in the 24 gigahertz spectrum. Now, I'd like to give you guys a little bit of reasoning behind where this product came from and what the genesis of it was. And really what we were looking for is, how in the world can we feed a micropop or any access that you're using that's deployed at 5 gigahertz and provide a frequency that doesn't interfere with 5 gigahertz so you don't burn one of the channel sets. We were looking for something that had gigabit performance. It needed to be fast enough to serve 1 or more client radios. It needed to be cheap enough to enable quick ROI so you're not spending a huge amount of money on a backhaul investment. We also looked at the distance and realized that looking at 60 gigahertz, for example, it didn't go quite far enough. Actually didn't go quite far enough at all. And it didn't do great in the rain. So we really looked at something that could handle distances of 1 to 2 miles and still survive a reasonable rainstorm. That way it allows you flexibility of where you need to put the broadband access from where your access points are. We also wanted it to be easy to deploy. Something that was, we do have a number of our micropop deployments are actually going up on rooftops, on people's houses. So we needed something that if it falls off, it's not going to go through their roof. We also needed something discrete. Oftentimes, to deploy a backhaul or short haul radio, you need something aesthetically pleasing. And that's actually what the B24 is. You can see that here. It's lightweight. It's quite attractive. It's actually not much bigger than a C5 itself. It's designed to be very easy, quick and easy to install. Let's take a look at some of the specs on it. It supports the unlicensed frequency that's pretty much available around the world with a few exceptions, 2405 to 24.25 gigahertz. It's short haul, so it's designed to go 3 meters or 2 miles and survive a reasonable rainstorm. Now, if you get torrential rainstorms, you got to basically manage the distance appropriately. But we do have the new link planner and our network design tool online. We actually have the B24 opened up today, so if you guys want to go in and take a look at it, you can. You'll be able to see the distances you can get based on the expected rainfall. B24 supports our GPS sync technology, so you'll be able to deploy up to 8 of them within close proximity, so you can use it on something like a building rooftop doing MDU deployments where you need to co-locate a lot of them in close proximity and not have them interfere with each other. It's also extremely flexible from a bandwidth standpoint. B24 supports our auto TDMA functionality, so that gives us up to a gigabit of throughput in one direction, and it's flexible based on the traffic needs that you have. Very different than some of the FDD radios that are out there today that basically nail up 50% of the traffic in one direction or another. And we're able to do this with under 1 millisecond of latency. So very effective in terms of pushing bandwidth through. It's also, as you can see, extremely small. It's not much bigger than our C5. It weighs 6 pounds. So very lightweight, easy to deploy. As I said, if you drop it on a stage, it's not going to go through the stage.
You're going to juggle them, right?
I told him I juggled once, and I made this mistake. That might hurt my foot. 1.5 gigabits of IP throughput, so even though you can do one gig in one direction, we can actually handle 1.5 gigabits of bidirectional traffic. Less than a millisecond of latency. Another interesting fact about it is it's very, very low power. It runs at just under 20 watts. So if you're looking at something for a battery backup solution, 20 watts is a pretty conservative when it comes to millimeter wave for high-frequency radios like this, right? Most of the other products out on the market consume a lot more energy. That means a lot more batteries and a lot more expensive in installation. Like all of our high-end radios, it supports IP67. It has built-in ESD protection, synchronization. We also slant 45 beam width. Supports 48 volt DC, 802.3 AT power. We do have a new PoE injector that comes with this. You'll notice it's now a gray box. It's a little bit smaller. So there'll be a little bit designed, but it works great. We just wanted something to package a little bit better. From a wind survivability, it supports 200 kilometers per hour, and it's pretty bulletproof. Sales point, it's $899 US list. So a great price point for those looking to deploy these en masse for backhaul solutions. And availability, it will be shipping into distribution in March. Should be available to purchase right away and probably get it in your hands in early April. So hopefully everybody is excited about this. Where it fits into our existing product portfolio is basically in the high reliability phase of the products, and it supports the distance in that short, what I would call the short haul end of the spectrum. It goes 0 up to 2 miles. So really designed to fit that niche of small short end connectivity. It's also designed to be extremely reliable. If you compare this to something like a 60 gigahertz radio, 60 gigahertz radios really don't go much more than half a kilometer in the rain. This is designed to do up to 3 kilometers in the rain and make it survivable, obviously depending on your rain region, but it's designed to basically go the distance. We also have built in our auto interference management capabilities that you're familiar with in our V5, so we can automatically adjust the modulation, we can adjust the channel width down if we need to, and we can adjust the power. So that way, if you do get into a scenario where you're running, you can run up to 160 megahertz of channel width, but if you get into a situation where you have heavier rain, the modulation can actually go down, so it'll try lower MCS rates, and then if necessary, it'll use a lower channel width. So that way it'll help punch through the rain. We also have channel management capability. You can use different channels as you want to. We support dual non-contiguous channels, so you can run a 20, 40, or an 80 megahertz channel. You can run 2 of those, and then you can put them wherever you like in the spectrum. Now, if you're using 80 megahertz, they're really right next to each other because that's all the spectrum there is. But it does give you some flexibility if you have some other noise in the environment that you're not always having to run at the full spectrum. As I said, we support fiber. Thank you. Pretty much enough said about this, but again, we're listening to everybody and we want to make sure we've got the interfaces that you want on it. We've also designed this to be easy to install. Weighing in at 6 pounds, it's really something that you can, at least on one side, install with one person. We've worked very closely with our beta sites. And Faisal, I'd like to thank you for all your help that you provided, giving us some guidance on how to make this product as easy to set up as possible. It does have a 3-degree beam width, so it is pretty narrow, right? So you do have the, it's not like a 5 gigahertz wider antenna. But to help with that, we've come up with a fine adjust mount that really makes it as easy as possible to adjust the elevation and adjust the azimuths and be able to fine-tune it with screws. And we've got a good set of markings on there so you can actually aim it and understand it. And if you get a chance to come up and look at it, the mounting bracket is actually quite beautiful. It's pretty small, lightweight, but it's very easy to use. All right, so what can we do with the V24? I think the most obvious one that we here in this room all know about is using it for fixed wireless backhaul applications, right? You now have a new tool in your arsenal to be able to have something that fits into whatever environment you're putting it into, lightweight, easy to deploy. It's also an interesting opportunity for smart city integration. If people are looking at deploying video surveillance or generally need to get connectivity where they don't have fiber in a city, up to the distance we support, this becomes a great opportunity to look at that. So that's definitely a market that this product will fit nicely into. The next market is business and MDU rooftop connections. We have a couple of our beta sites that are actually using it to feed an MDU. A great ROI there, where you've got building-to-building, rooftop-to-rooftop connectivity at the price points of this, you can easily recover the installation cost in a very timely manner versus comparable products that are out there at other frequencies and even at 24 gigahertz. It's also a great solution for video surveillance and Wi-Fi backhaul. You can imagine with video surveillance, you have people that are, actually, I was talking again to Faisal, said that you start getting a lot of these video surveillance guys using 5 gigahertz, and it makes the spectrum busy for everybody. Well, 24 gigahertz is a great option for your backhaul to avoid that, but it's also a great option if you're looking to do a video surveillance network as well, right? Because you can get away from the busy 5 gigahertz. You've got a very narrow beam. It goes the distance and provides a great solution for that. And finally, it's great for campus building connections. So, if you're looking for people that have buildings to connect and don't want to run fiber between them, this is really easy. Just go mount this up on the roof, aim it across the street, and you've got a gigabit of throughput. So definitely keep your eyes open for other interesting ways to deploy this than just your typical backhaul access. All right, I've got a video coming up that has a few of our beta sites in it. I'm not going to go too much time on these, but Step House has successfully deployed this. They're up in Portland, Oregon, and they're using this to feed an MDU. And Tyler is the CEO there. And then we've got Kevin Fisher, the CEO of Sail. They've deployed this up in Fremont. And they really like the performance and the installation ease that this has. So let's go ahead and
the world lives on the internet today. More than half the people on Earth are now connected, enriching their lives through social networks, entertainment, education, and online shopping. Wireless broadband plays a large role in connecting the world through links in rural areas that would otherwise be inaccessible, and increasingly in suburban and urban areas, enabling much-needed broadband competition, improved service, and enhanced public safety. Backhauling internet traffic remains a challenge in many areas. For rural applications, low-cost 5 gigahertz radios have become the workhorse of the WISP industry. Recently, licensed microwave radios have become more affordable, and many operators take advantage of clean licensed spectrum where available. For suburban and urban applications, however, the backhaul choices have been less attractive. Operators want reliable gigabit links, but the popular unlicensed bands are too congested, and most licensed bands require long links with large dishes. Available millimeter wave radios are either too expensive or unable to operate over the required distances and rain conditions. As an alternative, the unlicensed 24 gigahertz band only recently gained popularity, with new products that could go the distance through rain. As many operators have experienced, however, price, size, and power requirements remain barriers to broad-scale deployment. Now, to address the need for affordable mid-range backhaul, Mimosa is proud to introduce the B24, the first affordable gigabit speed backhaul radio operating in the unlicensed 24 gigahertz band. Designed from the ground up, using high-volume components, the B24 achieves incredible performance at a disruptive price that fits the economics of broadband providers and enterprises in suburban and urban markets.
It really hits a sweet spot for us for our micropop sites, and it's got price, the power consumption, and the performance that opens up new possibilities for us, along with the range and also the size, the fact that it'll look nice on the side of a house. It's really a great product and opens up some new options for us as a wireless ISP.
Like other Mimosa products, GPS synchronization allows co-located B24 radios to share the same channel, permitting up to 8 links to operate from the same rooftop, each running at 1 gigabit per second. For redundancy and flexibility, concurrent Ethernet and fiber connections are supported, a feature that was previously only available in stratospherically priced outdoor products. At a fraction of the weight, size, and power of alternative solutions, the B24 fits into any setting, and priced at half the competition. The B24 is revolutionizing the industry, satisfying the needs of customers in multiple applications and verticals.
The cost-performance ratio is really critical for us, and in the lower density MDUs, it's really critical to have a low-cost, high-speed backhaul in there so we can continue to deliver high-speed gigabit services. Most of our links are under a mile, and so the distance is great for us. the low cost of the unit allows us to get our ROI faster.
Once again, Mimosa is revolutionizing the industry, delivering the leading technology for all your wireless broadband needs.
All right. So we've got one more, actually got a couple more, but I'd like to bring Faisal up on stage. He's been one of our extremely helpful beta customers who deployed the B24 down in Miami. And why don't you introduce yourself, tell people kind of what you do and what you think of the B24.
Thank you, David. Good evening, everybody. My name is Faisal Imtiaz. I'm with Snappy Internet and Telecom. We're based out of Miami, Florida. We're about 26 years old as a company, and for the last 26 years, we've been solving problems, filling holes, offering alternatives, and being able to provide high-speed internet for customers who have either no options or they want better options, because we are a very hot spot for the large cable company as well as AT&T. And shall I continue?
Yeah, just continue. Just maybe so we kind of heard what you're doing now. Give us some thoughts on what you're using the B24 for.
So I was really excited with the beta, and I can tell you when we first got the radio, it was like, wow, okay, so this is going to be fun, because the size, the bracket, the mount, and the specs. Maybe can I say this? You know, I remember a few years back when the company that we shall not name announced the 24 gigahertz radio. There was a tremendous amount of excitement created, because we were so happy to see a product that could deliver more than 500 megs of bandwidth. And I think for a lot of us, it changed how we did things and revolutionized our networks. But I think everybody will agree that, you know, when we started critiquing, using the product, we started critiquing it, we always wanted something slightly different. We wanted something smaller, we wanted something which consumes less power, something which looks neater, something which we can deploy multiple of them on a single pole, single mast, and something with a nicer bracket. And I think with what we're seeing with the Mimosa B24, it fits all of those criteria which you guys wanted, or what we wanted. So I'm really, really excited. As you can see in our area, we're looking at deploying it both as a backhaul solution for short haul, getting lots of bandwidth out of the data center, as well as being able to deliver fat pipes to customers, MDUs, and business customers.
And that's what the link we're seeing here. This is the one that's doing the data center connectivity.
Correct. So this is actually a segment in our backhaul. It is actually talking to a data center which has a 10 gig fiber connection. So this was a perfect place for us to test it. It is approximately 1.1 miles long, and we're seeing some very interesting results. So I'll share this with you. With the UDP test that we ran, I'm getting about 800 and some odd megs in one direction and 600 megs in the other direction. Really nice and easy. We're waiting for some more rains to see how it gets affected. The few lightweight showers we have had, it hasn't skipped a beat. So,
well, excellent. Glad. I think everyone. I can stand up and say this stuff all day, but I think people love hearing from their peers and actually hearing what it's doing in their real life. So, thanks again. You've been a great beta tester. He's been very instrumental in helping us make sure the mount's easy to use. He's also, little known fact, he's responsible for the Allen wrench in the product. We had, basically what we do with all of our beta sites is we go through and we talk about all sorts of stuff, right? It's like what you like, what you didn't like, what was hard, what was easy. And one of the most interesting things was we didn't have Allen wrenches in our kits, and you use a millimeter, and how do we use this? So it was pretty cool. So, thanks to your feedback, little things like that make it easy for everybody.
Next time you see the Allen wrench in the box, just think of me.
Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks very much.
Thank you for all your time.
So is it now called the Faisal wrench? Just putting it out there.
We just finished all the product literature, so I can't change it too fast.
Sorry about that.
But that would have been great. You know, we have another beta customer here too. We've got Kent with us today. He's one of our. Actually, I think he was beta site number 2 for this. So, yeah, if you want to come up and just say a few words. Sure. I think everybody knows who Kent is in the room, so maybe just come on up and let people know. Let people know how things are running, and yeah, come on up.
Oh, okay. So those of you who don't know, my name's Kent Roller, and I'm the owner of Prairie Hills Wireless. We just actually got this Operator of the Year 2017.
Congratulations.
I actually use the D24 to link between a water tower and a grain lake. We have an A5 up there. I just recently replaced it with a couple A5Cs, and to get more capacity, we actually loaded the A5 up. And about same testing is, and as far as throughput, I was getting about the same. That was a 3/4 mile link. Went through a lot of different kinds of weather. In Nebraska, temperature can vary day to day, 30, 40, 50 degrees. And it went through a couple blizzards and some rain, and we never had a link drop. Nothing ever happened to it. And I am running on the SFP as well with the concurrent Ethernet, so that's really a good, nice feature. So, yeah.
Good. Well, thanks for coming up. And so we've got if you guys have questions, feel free to ask them. You can also ask us questions of what you think, what your questions are. But we thought it would be good to have some beta customers actually here to help support the launch, and also be here to just talk about what the product's actually like. So I want to thank everybody for coming.